43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! And welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics. And we were just reminiscing backstage with our guest, Ashley Grogg, tonight. She is coming on. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. She's actually written a book. And, you know, I find it interesting that, you know, people that care about their industry or about their, you know, about what they do, about their job, about, you know, they have a passion for it. So it, you know, it's always good. But sometimes they run into some rocky roads in these things. You know, I think of Tony Kennett when he was a teacher, how he was battling the curriculum that they had and the IPS and all that, and basically he ended up getting fired. But now he's got his own show and he's doing his things. So Ashley, she's in that category. She's written a book and she's been a nurse and she's been outspoken on this. And in fact, we were reminiscing backstage, and I was looking for some clips of some shows that because she's been on Mouthwash a couple times, even as far back as Ed Lip Trap. And they both of those shows, I couldn't find them in the archives because they got censored because we mentioned vaccine. And we did not talk disparagingly about the vaccine. We just talked about the vaccine. And back then, back in the dark ages, you remember the dark ages back in the early 20s, that's what happened. We got censored for things that we were saying and we were talking about that maybe they're a little more true right now, but I don't think anybody wants to spike the football. I think we want to live and learn. I think we are ready to go on to the next thing. But Ashley's written a book, and I honestly, you know, since I couldn't see any other shows or anything, I'm sort of curious to see what that's about. So we're going to bring her on here in a minute and you know, introduce you to her. If you didn't catch any of our shows, I would say go back in the archives and look, but they're not there. So anyway, so what else is going on? Boy, we got just a lot of stuff going on. You know, if you caught Witty Reviews, he was talking about the city council and all the stuff that's going on here and there and everywhere, and people losing their jobs and gaining their jobs, and boy, data centers. Ooh, it's all crazy. So maybe if we get a data center up, then I can broadcast to more places. Maybe that's what that is for us. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and bring on Ashley. Let's see what we can get here. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you look like you're in virtual land with your background all like that. Are those all books back there that you've read and things?
Oh, totally. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I have all my books behind me. We have that. So hey, tell our guests a little bit about yourself before we get this fiasco started.
Yeah, absolutely. So like John said, my name is Ashley Grogg. I'm a master's prepared registered nurse, which means I went to school and wrote a bunch of papers so that way I could teach nursing school. And I never did because I left the allopathic system. It was very difficult for me, even pre C word. I don't want to get censored. The C19. Don't get my show deleted again.
You're the most deleted show ever.
I'm probably
history. Dr. Stock is behind you only by one.
Yeah. But even pre C word, nursing was broken. It was terrible. It was sucking my soul out because I didn't feel like I could take care of my patients the way that I wanted to. And we've talked about this on past shows. So anybody who's seen it before can remember some of that. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But, left the hospital, left the bedside. I was a quasi management role on every committee in the hospital, doing all the things, quote, right. And I still couldn't make a difference. And I couldn't ensure that patients were treated well. Staffing was terrible. And that's been well over 10 years ago now. So I work in private education and consulting now. I have my own business and run Hoosiers for Medical Liberty. We fight for your right to say no. And we've been doing that since 2020. God just kind of aligned things. And I started that February 8th, February 9th of 2020. And the big C hit in March. And so that was definitely a God thing. And I've learned a lot. And here I am.
Yeah, so I want to, one of the things that's going around some of the social media sites is, people showing that they've gotten their, and they're all proud about that, and it's almost like they're taunting people that aren't. And I don't see the people that did not or aren't doing such a thing, and I think that there's probably been more damage with this. And we don't know what's all been reported. And I'm sure you probably know quite a bit more than I know about these things. And does that frustrate you when you see that, when you see people that just blindly go this way or that way?
I mean, ignorance. And, when you elect to be ignorant, that does bother me. But, when we do this kind of work, we cannot focus on the people we can't help, right? There are so many people out there who want my help, my attention, my time, my love, that I focus on those people. So all of these out there that are posting, oh, I did the thing, go to heck, RFK. I don't care. Like, that's your choice. I think it's silly to make a decision like that based on being mad at somebody. Like, what are you proving? Nothing, and so I honestly, I pray for them because I am worried about what could happen. And so I pray for them when I see it, and I just keep right on going and move on with my life because there's more important things to deal with.
Yeah. And I want to ask you one more questions about vaccine in general. I mean, the V word in general, before we get the panel on, because I see they're ready to go back there. I see Lucy's got her background with the big like cootie virus behind her. So, which is, I believe, what I might have on my background back when we had our show. They got censored. So you hear about autism and these different things that could be related to this. What would be the harm in just halting all vaccines for 3 years and to see what happens? I mean, obviously you could start the vaccines again, but I know people are going to say, well, if just one kid gets sick or what, but I just think that we're putting way too much stuff in this. I know I'm a boomer. I'm going to say a lot, it's all our fault. It's all our fault. Boomers blame us all. But I don't remember getting all those vaccines. I got the polio one here on my arm somewhere, and we got a couple other ones, but for the most part, we got the chicken pox, we got the measles, we just got them. And
yeah, and I really didn't get that many as a kid either. And I'm technically a millennial, though I identify more as Gen X, or I'll even take the name of Boomer, even though I'm just 41. But
you got a ways to go. I'm the low end of the boomers, and
I'm an old soul.
Yeah, okay.
So we've had this conversation on the show actually before. I wish they wouldn't have been deleted because it would be great to go back and revisit some of those. But there is plenty of information. In fact, there was a Senate hearing with Ron Johnson today. And, honestly, I've been really emotional all day and upset because the truth will be known in the light of day. It's going to be seen in the light of day. And the problem with that is not that I don't want people to know. It's that as that truth is revealed, people are going to be very angry. They're going to be very sorrowful. They're going to feel very guilty. They're going to be very confused. And healthcare is already in this place where a lot of people don't trust. And so we're going to see trust continue to decline in healthcare unless this is handled in the right way, meaning that we accept that we've done something that was wrong and we take accountability for it and we vow not to do these things again. Stopping for 3 years, that would be considered a moratorium. Stopping doing all the pokies would be considered a moratorium. And there are always risks to the choices that we make. And with just abruptly stopping, we will see cases of some of these illnesses, right? And that's the argument. And that argument was made today in this Senate hearing. And so you're weighing the risk versus the benefit. What is the risk of the procedure, the pokey, versus the risk of the disease? And, that was covered extensively. I have a book from 1961 back here. And it shows how precipitously the measles dropped. This is an old book. I find these old books and I collect them.
I was born in 61. Thanks for bringing that up about it being old.
It didn't age as well as you did, John.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, I feel like I've been kicked down the stairs here. So
it's a little floppy.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm a little floppy. So
it still has all the information in it and how the death rate precipitously dropped. So, and it also says in here that the best way to treat these illnesses is to have good nursing care. Okay. So you're tending to the individual who's sick, you're making sure they're hydrated, you're watching for secondary infections, because across the board with these illnesses, what really kills people is the secondary infections. And back in the early 1900s, prior to, the development of penicillin and all of the health measures as far as sanitation and nutrition and stuff like that, pre-World War II, those were big killers. Pneumonia would kill a lot of people. And now that we don't, we have running water in our homes, we have sewage and waste, all that stuff, and we have access to good food. We're not living off of bread and water. That makes a huge difference in your body's ability to fight off infection, along with the availability of antibiotics and medical care. So, we would, if we were to do a moratorium, we would have a resurgence of illness, but we would need to know how to identify those things and then how to treat them. And I think that, relatively speaking, when you measure the risks and the benefits, we would see that experiencing a period of time in which we have the resurgence of these illnesses is going to be less harmful than continuing with the schedule of pokies as it is now. So
yeah. Wow, that was a very comprehensive thing. Maybe we could just get one state to do it and then instead of everybody. And then that we could get Florida. They seem to be cutting edge down there. But then you have variables of weather and different things and old
Florida
people.
Is putting a moratorium on vaccine mandates, which is, I think, the right way to handle it. People who want the pokies should be able to have them. I don't want to take them away from them. There's going to come a point when we have to decide when we stop that or when we restore liability to vaccine manufacturers. I think that's a reasonable thing, is to end all mandates and let people choose for themselves.
That sounds like freedom. Well, we'll never have anything like that. Well, let me go ahead and bring the panel on. They've been patiently waiting back here. And I see that, let's see, here we go. You guys are on the wrong ends here. Let's fix it. Let's see. Oh, Brad's on the right. We can't have that. There we go. Now everybody's here. Tiffany is at the Fever game. She's rushing home, and so she could pop in at any time. And so, yeah, Lucy, I love your background. That is the usual. That looks like some kind of thing that'll
That's beautiful.
What's that?
I asked if it was coral. It looks beautiful.
No, it's the COVID virus. It's allegedly
can't say it.
Protein
we get Lucy on 3 seconds and she says the C word.
It's the spike protein from the bioweapon. And the reason we're seeing this is because taxation is theft.
All right. Wow, you have redeemed yourself. You have redeemed yourself on that. So I'll start with Brad. Brad, how you doing? You been to any baseball games? You stole a ball from any ladies, any Karens or anything?
No. And I almost had an incident like that happen last year at a White Sox game. There was like nobody there. and a foul ball got hit, and I went running for it, and a kid like 10, 11 years old was running at the same time, and I just stopped because I'm like, I don't want to end up
You don't want to be on TV.
That's not worth it.
You should have tackled him, Brad. That would have been great.
Yeah,
Well,
I've already gotten one though. Like I've gotten one in my life, so that was.
I'd say this. I went to this was back in Busch Stadium, probably 1980, so last century. Always sounds older when you say that. And it was a school night. We were in college, I think, and we had driven down or something. And it was a school night, and we went to the Indians game. We thought, we'll be back by reasonable time. It goes like 18 innings or something like that. So we're like there till like the wee hours. But there's a ball hit like that, and it hits this old lady, and the dude I'm with goes over and grabs that ball. And I'm telling you what, if we had the internet these days, he would be hunted down because I said, dude, give her that ball. It's like some old grandma, and he kept it.
Baseball stadiums used to be like kind of rough,
Yeah, it was Busch Stadium's where they shot 8 men out, so it was old school. Even in the 80s, it still was old. So anyway, that's my famous story. So I'm glad you didn't tackle the kid, and you're all good.
No, and I didn't recognize the virus though, because I got my vax and my booster. And,
have you got your booster this year?
No, like I don't think I got it since the original one.
Okay,
or like
you're still kicking,
I guess.
You're still kicking.
Yeah, but magnets tend to stick to me every once in a while, and then.
But that's because of the steel plate in your head.
When I go through tolls, I burst into tongues, or I just start speaking in tongues. No, I'm kidding. Like nothing. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Lucy, how you doing? You got the COVID right behind you. I mean, the C word right behind you.
I know. And what's funny is I'm babysitting the grandkids, so I'm in this like mint green room. So all the light reflecting on my face makes me look like the color of these.
Yeah, you look like a Oompa Loompa a little bit there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's okay.
Crazy. But I would like to say something seriously for Brad and anybody else that got the jab, the really, really bad one. I was just watching a permaculture video that was talking about sheep sorrel, sorrel, and sheep sorrel being one of the top 10 herbs that any of us should be using, and that it specifically regenerates heart tissue. So seriously, for those of you, who may have discovered the bait and switch and regret what happened and how they were fraudulently led like lambs to the slaughter.
But that is good for everybody, though, right? Not just us that are infected with the vaccine.
Yeah, we should probably all be using it anyway. I mean, the best thing to eat is to go outside and eat your weeds, as long as you're not some psychopath that sprays your yard.
Yep.
Psychopath. Okay. So, I want to get to Ashley's book before we get into this thing here. Ashley, tell us about your book, and let's start out with why did you write it? And then we'll go into what we get the cliff notes. How's that?
Absolutely. As a patient and as a nurse, I have experienced the heartbreak of healthcare. Unfortunately, it's not what it used to be. We rely on a lot of protocol medicine, and I say we because I still consider myself part of the system, right? I may be outside of it, but it's my profession. It always will be. And I really desire to see it come back to what it once was. Being a nurse and leaving bedside, which I loved. I loved taking care of patients. I still do it in various capacities, but there's something special about the relationship that you build with somebody who's in that hospital bed, who's in their most vulnerable moments, and you're there to guide them and support them. You're not making decisions, but you're just loving on them and helping them through that time and giving them the information that they need to make good decisions, however that looks for them. So, it's heartbreaking for me to be out of it. And sometimes I contemplate going back, but part of the reason I left is because I just felt so guilty for not being able to provide the care that I wanted to. And I also have had lots of family members who have had health issues. And every time I go back to the hospital with them, I see how this continues to degrade. I see my peers who are struggling through shifts. There's a lot of workplace violence now. Nurses are getting their backs, beaten. They're getting hit all the time. It's just a really hostile environment. And, I think I was hit by maybe one or two patients.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on, stop. I got to know more about this. What the heck? Are they just mad or crazy or both?
So my patients were usually like drunks or confused that hit me. Like it wasn't this malicious attacks. But now we're starting to see more and more in the news about assaults on medical professionals. And I think that the increase is probably related to the, COVID, since everybody else is using naughty words.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think they're going to censor us this time.
There's so many worse C words that we could be. I'm sorry.
I was kind of laughing about that earlier, but I was just keeping my mouth shut. But I think it's because of COVID and because people are more on edge and they don't feel like they're necessarily getting the best care. And truthfully, they're not. They're not getting,
and it's
the best
expensive
care
to go into the hospital. So we should be getting red
I
carpet.
I don't know that everybody agrees on what is the best care, and I think that's where a lot of the arguments can stem from. But then there's an etiquette involved on both sides. Is like you shouldn't be in danger of being assaulted at work.
Well, and I think too, it's not the care choices that I'm talking about in regards to care. It's like you go into the hospital and you're misdiagnosed, or you're kind of run around the bush. You have to get certain tests before you can get the one that really is going to work for you. This is across the board. This isn't about these individual issues. It is across the board, whether you're right, left, or center. There are significant issues within the healthcare system. And part of that is poor staffing. Part of that is the insurance companies. And these are issues we all can agree on.
Yes.
And I think it even starts before that. I think it starts from when somebody calls in for the 911. They have to send a fire truck. They have to send EMT. And you would think in this day and age of AI that they could differentiate between what you need. But that's like their protocol here in Wayne Township. They have to send all that.
But I think that is less about not knowing what you need versus who can get there the fastest. Because if you're laying on the floor with your heart not pumping, you want the closest person there, because those first responders are all trained in CPR. And the faster that blood is pumping through your veins again with CPR, the better chance that you have at recovering your mental capacity. So that, I think, is a different issue. That's something that, the risk benefit analysis weighs on sending out the quote wrong person.
The cavalry.
They can administer those life-saving, measures. But nurses they're at the bedside. They're the ones taking the brunt. There was a huge push, even when I was in the hospital. Our reimbursement metrics went towards, patient satisfaction rather than health outcomes. And so we saw these hospitals turning into bougie like hotels. And so everybody expects concierge service. Well, you don't recognize that your nurse, and when I was on the floor, our patient ratios should have been 4-to-1. That's what we should have been at. And I was taking 6, 7, 8 patients. Divide an hour by 6. I get 10 minutes with each patient. Divide an hour by 8.
Is that just poor anticipation on behalf of staffing?
It's cost cutting. It is poor management. It's high turnover. There's so many issues involved with that. And it was wild because, again, this was happening. I was working in the hospital from 2006 to 2015, 2016. So, the first couple years were okay. Our hospital was bought out a couple times, and the company that owned it was horrid. And they were known for sucking all the value out of a hospital and running it at the bare minimum capacity. So they're trying to make the maximum amount of money. And that is a big part of it. I mean, I wish I could drop names because they're nasty. They're a horrible corporation, but that's what they're known for. And healthcare
it's a gross way to think about healthcare, that it is a for-profit industry and not.
It doesn't have to be that way.
The thing of it is these nonprofit hospital systems are almost as bad, because instead of taking those resources a lot of times and investing them into the hospital and into the care, we have a big nonprofit system up here. Okay. They take and they fund the baseball diamond, the ice skating rink, all of these things have this hospital's name plastered all over them. And so instead of investing that money into the people at the hospital or giving back as charity, because this hospital will not allow bankruptcy. And I just had a friend who had an emergency gallbladder removal, a $70,000 bill. They don't have insurance. $70,000, don't have insurance. They don't make a lot of money. We're talking a family of 3 making, I want to say, maybe $50,000 a year. And they're not getting any break. It's insane. And this is a nonprofit entity.
And that cost is insane as well. Like I don't know what. That's like a life-stopping kind of. And that's probably on the low end of medical emergencies and health issues as well. So
the moral of the story is don't get sick. I mean, because it's expensive.
Well, you can pay the farmer, or you can pay the doctor. But one thing that I came across recently, and I don't know if I'm allowed to share the name or anything. So if anybody wants to know it, you'll actually have to DM me. But there's health sharing where people share each other's health bills, and it's way less expensive. The particular company that I'm thinking of that I found recently, I may be moving our family onto it because it's so much less expensive than traditional healthcare. It's a nonprofit, so they don't add 20% on top of your premiums for their profit. But the coolest thing is it makes you a cash payer. So when you get that $70,000 bill, they go negotiate with the hospital, and it becomes a $15,000 bill. So now, thousands and thousands of people are sharing that bill. They even count your vitamins towards your deductible if you spend money on vitamins every month. It's cool.
So now I'm almost arguing against myself, because shouldn't that money be going to have more nurses on staff and have a more fully.
So we're paying more and getting less is what you're trying to say, Brad.
The thing of it is the care doesn't really cost that much. Those prices are way inflated, and Indiana's healthcare costs, especially where I'm at, are exceptionally high. Okay. If you look at the national average, and I don't want to put a number on it because I can't quote it directly, but we are very, very high in our pricing. And this has been a focus of our legislature over the past couple years. And I don't typically say nice things about legislators, but there is a legislator down there who I do believe he is doing the best he can to try to make pricing transparent. And actually, there's 2 of them. I don't think they're going to listen, but there are 2 of them that I think are really right now trying to do good things to make pricing transparent and fair. And so it's a really big, complicated issue. These CEOs of these hospitals, I can remember our CEO of the hospital bought his kid a fire truck for his 5th birthday. No joke.
Actual fire truck?
An actual fire truck. It was decommissioned, but still,
that would be so cool.
It
wasn't you, Brad.
From what I hear, he still has it on his property. So, you think about all of these things. We're getting so off track, though.
What's the book about?
The bottom line, Resuscitating Nursing is the book. It's the title of the book, because I want to bring ethics and morals back into healthcare. And while it's called Resuscitating Nursing, this will impact every facet of healthcare. Nurses are the largest population in the medical professions. And we really drive that care because we're the ones that are closest to that patient. And if we would put our foot down and say, enough is enough, we're not dealing with the bureaucracy. We're going to take care of our patients, and we're going to take care of them well. And if you don't like that, it's going to be very difficult for you to work. I'm not saying that we need to be violent and vicious. I'm just saying it's time for some good old tough love, some mama love, where you say, look, I've tried to correct this the nice way. The next time, it's not just a grounding. I'm going to swat you on the
Don't
butt.
make me count to 3. So it's Resuscitating Nursing. And is it on the Amazon? Where do we find it?
It is. It's on Amazon.com. You can search my name, Ashley Grogg. I think it'll come up better that way. And resuscitating is not the easiest to spell for most people.
Yeah, don't ask me to do that. Johnny can't spell.
It's on the screen, John. It's on the screen.
Yeah, there you go. I still can't spell it because I can't read either.
The Kindle version is 99 cents until tomorrow.
September 10th. That's like a bargain.
It is a bargain.
I wish I had a Kindle.
Well, you can download the app, John. Come on.
Oh, really? I'm a boomer. Remember, you got to talk slower.
Yes. So open up your phone and go to your app store. No, just kidding. But yeah, you can get it on Kindle. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free on Kindle Unlimited. So you can get that. There's also a workbook that goes along with it. I am a very practical person. I like to make things easy for people because I really want you to go out and take action. And I think you guys know that from my organization. I just try to make things really simple so you can go out and you can be effective and you can live your life while making a difference and doing good things, right? Because we should all be out there doing good things for each other. So the book is, its subtitle is a tactical roadmap for nurses who refuse to be silenced. So we're putting an end to all this stuff, and we're using our knowledge, our nursing knowledge base, our problem solving skills to do all of this. And it was crazy because in the beginning of the book, you'll read a story of me kind of, going after the CEO and calling him out on the carpet in a big auditorium. And he still diverts from me. As of like 2 years ago was the last time I saw him, and he took a hard turn and went the opposite direction so he didn't have to face me. So I definitely left an impression. I know that's hard to believe because I'm so sweet and angelic, but if I had the tools then that I do now, if I had this book, we would have taken that hospital over and we would have fixed things. And I've talked to a couple of my coworkers from back then, and they've read the book and they agree. They're like, I wish we could have done this because there were so many people hungry for change and ready to do the right thing for their patients, but we just didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to sign into Kindle, so I'm listening now. I'm listening.
Well, I'll just keep talking then, John. Just say no more.
Catching a little bit of background noise from Lucy's mic too. So, but yeah, so why? I heard you say that you would, if you had this book out while you were in the trenches. So why? How would that make that much difference? Just from your knowledge of it, or just because you could have shared it easier?
From the tactics.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how to fight politically, and I didn't understand that nursing and everything in healthcare is politics point blank. And since I have, started the nonprofit and done all the things and worked, in the legislature, I have come to understand what politics truly is. And you know me, I'm very direct and to the point, and I don't mince words. I'm going to go after it. And you don't have to play the game to win at politics. It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to be eaten up by the system. And so, I talk about the problem of what's going on in healthcare. I talk about what politics really is and how you can make change and, quote, play the game without being in the game. They say be of the world, but not in it, or be in the world but not of it, right? Yeah. It's kind of that line of thinking. I talk about triage is a term nurses use. We triage patients. We decide what their acuity level, how bad things are, so we can pick our best battle by identifying which is the best one. And that is a triage process. Nurses are also really good at prioritizing. We know that we have 6, 7, 8 patients. Some of them are more critical than others. And so we have to look at what's going on with all of these patients and choose which one is going to get our attention first. What different kinds of tasks need to be bumped later in our shift versus earlier in our shift. So that way we have comprehensive care. And I didn't realize that we could apply these ideas and these processes that we have as nurses to the issues of our profession. And so it's just really cool, if I say so myself, how we can use everything we already know and apply it, build a team up around ourselves because there's safety in numbers. You have quite a bit less of a chance of getting fired if it's you and like 20 of your BFFs from around the hospital versus like you just calling out a CEO in the middle of the auditorium. If I would have known that I just had to get like 3% of my peers to come together with me and start not only calling them out, but holding them accountable for their promises, it would have been game changing. And honestly, even though I kind of trash talk this CEO, I do think that he wanted to do the right thing, but he had the threat of losing his job because the corporate offices in another state were threatening him. So I talk a little bit about giving these people solid ground. I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm making sure that they're standing on a firm surface so they can turn around and look at their bosses and be like, look, I can't get these people are not controllable. They're bringing up valid points. They have, the cavalry coming in, and you give them that firm ground. So that way it is so painful for that out of state corporate entity to continue to cut your staffing. Or our thing was they had us on a hiring freeze. I'm talking about all these patients that I had, and they refused to let us hire nurses. Then when they finally lifted the hiring freeze, all of our experienced nurses who could precept or train new nurses were gone. So we didn't even have enough nurses to train our baby nurses. And then that just perpetuates the problem because they come in, they get poor orientation, they don't feel supported, they're drowning. And I can remember one shift we had, a new grad, and we were all getting a sixth patient, and it was a really heavy load. People were really sick. And I went up to the charge nurse and I'm like, what's going on? And she's, telling us, I think we might've been getting our seventh patient. And it was just crazy. I remember it being crazy. And I was like, she's not ready. She can't take this many patients. I'll take the extra. I'll take hers so she can have less, because of the fact that I knew that she wouldn't know how to handle it. She couldn't do it. Not only does that put her license at risk, it puts all of our other patients at risk. And I mean, that's how people die.
Yep. So I got another one here. A question. Robert's got something where he feels sorry for elderly people. Speaking of boomers like myself here, we're older. We need a little more healthcare. I mean, I've noticed that I need a little more healthcare. Is that? Are we having enough nurses coming on? Is there, I know we got shortage of police officers. We got a shortage of certain things. So I see you shaking your head there, but is this ready for a collision course here of too many boomers and not enough nurses?
Yeah, that's been something they've been predicting for years. And COVID really exacerbated this problem because it drove so many people out, and they went to traveling and they did all this. And there's people who completely left the profession, people that were wonderful nurses who, I mean, they would go to bat for their patients. They would protect these people at their most vulnerable, and they're just gone, and they're not going to come back because they're broken. It's moral injury. And so, we do have this severe shortage, and it's been that way forever and a day, and it's only going to keep getting worse. And unfortunately, this past year, the legislature passed a law that high school students could start enrolling in nursing programs.
Yeah, that's one of my next questions is there some of that can be, because I dated a nurse in college, and she worked her tail off and wrote a lot of stuff, clinical stuff. I mean, it's like, come on, be like me, be a C student. Let's go have some fun. But
you don't want a C student nurse, John. What the hell?
Okay,
man?
well, she's a good. She's actually.
I want my doctor to be like, yeah.
Yeah, well, she's actually, stayed in it, and she does consulting now. She's not actually on the floor nurse, but so, to me, it's like, I think this is sort of the case in a lot of professions, but this one is pretty serious.
It impacts you. Yeah.
Our life depends on it, basically. So, I mean, it's like, I don't want to get I just dread being sick. So I really started exercising again and try to eat the right stuff and all that, and listen to Lucy and eat my lamb's quarters or whatever she's feeding me this week. And
Lamb squirrel.
Well, I mean,
wild
Ashley,
squirrels.
It's a spinach substitute.
Ashley,
The only thing better than that, stinging nettle. You should all be
I'm
eating your
listening,
stinging
Brad.
nettle.
Talk
no,
over
I was
him.
just wondering, like, do you think people use the healthcare industry for somewhat frivolous things, maybe, and it should be more of a emergency based kind of thing? Because
good question.
Yes and no. Everybody is different, and some people, they'll go to the emergency room for a stubbed toe or for a cold or something like that, and there are levels of care that people really don't understand, like levels of care being my primary care doctor, the urgent care, maybe a walk-in clinic at CVS or Walgreens or whatever. Those different levels of care before you get to the emergency room, and being proactive. We have gotten to this place where we expect a lot of people, and I think this has changed recently, a lot of people expect to go to the doctor to get a prescription and your problems to be solved, and we miss the point that you as an individual are responsible for your health. That means taking care of your body. Your cells, your organs need sleep. They need good food. They need water. They need proper oxygenation. You need movement. You need sunlight. And so we talk about all these functional medicine ideals, which, don't get me wrong, I am board certified functional medicine practitioner. So these are all these are the things that I preach and teach my patients, or my clients, I guess. But when we forget that and we get away from that and we don't take care of our bodies, what do you expect? If you drive your car for 70,000 miles and you don't change the oil, do you expect the engine to continue running?
I expect the mechanic to still fix it.
I actually know somebody that did that.
Right? Is that where all of the entitled thoughts come from?
You could take a pill for your car. I think that there is a little bit of that. So I want to put Robert's up here. Robert, I've actually visited Robert in the hospital. He's been in and out of things. And so he's in the comments there. I would like for Robert to say one, probably the worst experience and the best experience with a nurse. If you can put that on there, we'll talk about it. Cause I mean, obviously he's been there. He's been in there recently and knows what it's about. I didn't mean
to say anything about people who do need the hospital that do want to, that's unfortunate. Like, I would hate to be in the hospital all year, but it's also something where I'm thinking of, 100 years ago, people did like frontal lobe lobotomies, and there was bloodletting and leeches, and
that's
before that, I just think the history of us as a human wanting somebody else to like inspect our body and make any kind of alteration to it or like suggestion, it's hard to me still.
So he said, Robert says it's easy in the emergency room when they all know your name, and then he's got no bad things, just great nurses. So yeah, and he was up at St. Vincent's, and that I've been up there. They're pretty good. When I crashed at the Velodrome in 2015, that's where they took me. I spent like 6 days in the hospital with collapsed lungs and things. So it was a pretty bad crash. But I know it was bad because a lot of people came and saw me because they probably thought I was going to die. Maybe.
And medicine is needed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody needs to take care of themselves. I don't want people to be afraid of going to the doctor or to the hospital, but you also need to know how to advocate for yourself. You need to be knowledgeable about your condition and obviously try to prevent those conditions before they set in.
It's crazy though that there's not like a menu on the outside of a hospital that just says like appendectomy, X amount of dollars, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, you have discount one too. So
I think that's what there's supposed to be a transparency portal. That's what I was talking about when I said that there are some legislators down at the State House that are working towards this, and they're working towards having an app or something where you can look up the cost of your healthcare. The problem with that becomes, The good thing about that could be that enables the free market. So there are 3 hospitals in town and there's a private surgery center. If I know I need to have a surgery and I can choose where I go, which is limited by insurance, by the way, if I could choose where I could go based on the price and maybe also their safety metrics, because that would be something else for me. What are their infection rates and things like that? I can make an educated decision on where to go, and that might start dropping those prices. And so that way people are coming into a more acceptable range. But a lot of that is driven by what insurance companies and CMS, which is Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, it's driven by what they state that is reimbursable. And so it's a complex and convoluted process. And I think we're working towards solutions, but really ensuring that people aren't getting procedures that they don't really need, because that happens. Or sometimes I feel like doctors feel like so much of their reimbursement depends on satisfied patients that they will do things for patients just so that they're happy, and the patient really didn't need it. Or there are some bad apples, hopefully few and far between, but they're going to do those extra surgeries or procedures to charge that. Well, my patient's coming in, they're complaining, so we're just going to do an exploratory surgery on their shoulder to see what's going on. And then they go in there and guess what? You find nothing, and then you end up having more problems because they've irritated nerves.
Now you know there was nothing.
Yeah.
But now you have nerve issues and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So we're talking about.
That's what I mean. Like there's, and you don't know. It's like you're trusting that person and their knowledge more than you. Yeah, it's a difficult decision, I think.
And then you could end up with a Dr. Larry Nassar or something like that. But speaking of doctors, my doctor, he's going to retire in a year. And I think he's 68 or so, 7, 8. And I think he feels a little bit like, hey, I can't quit because there's nobody coming behind me. Does this sort of fatigue transfer over to the doctors as well? So we're basically pretty much losing it. Yeah,
it does. And it's a tough profession. You have to go to school for quite a long time, and then you specialize. We've got so many. I don't know the statistics, and I would be interested to see the statistics on the total number of doctors per population. So, like, are there 100 doctors for every 100,000 patients or whatever? Like, I don't know what that is, but because of the specialization, which I'm not knocking it, but because of specialization, is that taking more doctors and putting them out to a place where, it's harder to find a primary care doctor, and finding a good primary care doctor is very difficult. So there's so much to this issue, and I don't know that we're going to have a perfect answer. But what I will say right now, the thing that I really want to focus on is making sure that, nurses find their voice. Doctors anybody can pick up this book and learn from it and address issues within, whether it's the healthcare system or, whatever. But you can pick up this book and learn from it so you can take on these bureaucratic systems and start adjusting things and saying, okay, is this really in the best interests of the people that we're serving? Is this really in the best interests of our nurses? Is this really in the best interests of our doctors? And I think that's the key, because there are so many problems driven by the love of money and greed. The people in the system, I think, overall are good. Our nurses and our doctors, for the most part, I believe, are good people, but they're stuck in this system that grinds them down. And you look at the way that these doctors who go to school for a very long time, who have very high stress jobs, they're told they only get 15 minutes with their patients, and then they need to be moving on to the next one. And that's by these big hospital systems. And so you don't get to really love on your patients. And this goes for nurses and doctors and PAs and NPs and everybody in between. You don't really get to love on those patients and give them the care that they deserve. You're just trying to push them through as fast as possible. Hopefully you're getting enough of the story that you can find the right protocol to maybe help them before they have to come back in again.
Yeah, that
was really good how you said that too, because I think people go into doctors' offices unprepared sometimes to have to give their story or explain to them exactly what is wrong with them. And yeah, that's a really good point.
On that note, every time I go to the doctor, I got to fill out that silly sheet about all the stuff that I've broken over my years in life. And why can't we just have on my phone app here of what's wrong with me, what I'm allergic to, which I'm not really allergic to anything. In fact, I tore out a bunch of poison ivy today because I'm not even allergic to that. But why don't we have that? Why don't we have a universal? What's that?
Don't gamble on that. I thought that one time, and I got the worst poison ivy I've ever gotten in my life.
I've been ripping it out for 2 days, but the crew, they get it. You know, I don't want my crew getting all itchy, you know. But yeah, I figured, well, you get older, then you start getting that stuff. But anyway, why don't we have that? Why can't we have a card or something? We got AI that I don't have to fill out all that stuff because I hate it.
Baseball card with all your
baseball card with all my stats on it. You got it all the way back to 1961. All my stats of.
Well, John, that exists.
What? How do I get such a thing?
Lucy is biting her lips. I can see the blood from here.
I'm ready to write.
So you actually can't get access to it, John, because you're not good enough. The Indiana Health Information Exchange. This is one of the things that I work on through Hoosiers for Medical Liberty. So I'm going to put in the private chat because I can't log in from YouTube apparently. I'm going to put in here. This is one of the things I fought against last year in the legislation session, h4ml.org/hands-off. And that will pull up our website. And it talks about the Health Information Exchange. The Health Information Exchange has been around, gosh, I can't remember when it started, but it's been over 20 years, I believe, collecting medical data from different providers across the state. And it boasts one of the largest, the most robust health information exchanges in the country. It is an Indiana nonprofit that your hospital, especially all these major hospitals in Indiana, I think there are like 198 hospital systems and over 19,000 providers that feed into this system. And they boast a longitudinal, meaning from, as far back as they can get your records to present day, a longitudinal health record that your doctor and the states and the government can access. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's really wonderful if you like your information being shared with people and not giving your consent or even having knowledge of it.
I don't care. but anyway,
wait, let me add something to that before, John, that you and I'm sure Ashley knows about this too, is the Medical Information Bureau, the MIB. That is the credit report for your medical records. And I've known about this since 1992 when I worked for an insurance company. And we had people that I'm telling you, they would slip and fall in Kmart, and then they would turn around and slip and fall in Walmart, not realizing that they shared an insurance company. So these people would literally try and say they slipped on a banana peel in the produce department and broke their ankle, and now they're looking for compensation. So I would type up the little cards, because back then, we're still using typewriters, and mail these cards into the Medical Information Bureau, and all of that information was collated so that they could detect fraud. So when you apply for life insurance and you say that you're not a smoker, but yet they get your Medical Information Bureau and just like a credit report, and they find out that you're lying, but they won't tell you that they found out that you're lying. They will accept your premiums for 20 or 30 or 40 years. And then when you go to collect on that life insurance policy, they'll claim that you made a material misrepresentation. Your family doesn't get the payout. And typically all they'll do is return your premiums, which
and you're dead.
Well, wait, where does all that money go then?
Well, you may not realize, but insurance companies are insanely profitable. So they take all this money in premiums, and then they turn around and they invest in companies and real estate and index funds. So the way that they're probably vaccines too, but the way that they're able to make money is similar to what a bank does. They take money in, they invest it. And then, I did this. I had term insurance for many years. I didn't die. So thank God I didn't have to use that term insurance and get it to my family. But on that term insurance, all of this premium stayed with the company. I didn't get any kind of refund for not dying. So insurance companies love it when you give them
Yeah, but
money.
you
and
won
then
the
don't
damn
use it.
life, Lucy. So that's
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
then
I'm
you
too
start
morbid.
talking about dying, and the black cat comes in. That's not good. That's not good.
I got Jesus, so it don't
So
matter what kind of black cat you got.
yeah,
I'm
that's
okay.
right. That's right. I mean, maybe Jesus got a black cat. Why did he even say that? So one more question, and then we're gonna wind this thing up. So Ashley, why don't you run for office?
No. I
Oh.
am. Do you know what would happen if I was down in the state house? Could you imagine? Like, first of all, I might get arrested.
Well, we'll have Brad be your bodyguard.
I have a temper.
yeah. I'm pretty
Brad,
tough.
you don't want to sign up for that.
Oh yeah, Brad'll mellow it out.
Listen,
for you.
they used to call me one ply because I'm so tough. Like,
One ply.
I just tear asses apart.
You better go.
Oh,
you better go stalk me on Facebook a little bit and see what kind of extracurriculars I have. Because I'm just saying.
One ply couldn't even fix you up, huh? Okay.
Well, we did some farming this weekend, and my kids got a taste of what my childhood was like, and let's just say they were not prepared. But anyway, I'm definitely not running for office. One of my kids, actually two of my kids, are thinking about it. So Chris, you better watch out, because you may have some runners for your seat here before long, and they are a little bit nicer than I am, and they have a little bit better filter on their mouth. Their face still will tell you everything. So but yeah, it's going to be really interesting when that happens.
That's good. And I did put your link to your website in the chat there for you. So but this is serious business, and I know we try to bring light onto it, and we laugh about one ply and me being old and those things, but I feel guilty ending the show after Brad just opened another Bud Light. I feel like we need to do some stuff. I mean, you guys up for conspiracy theory? I mean, we can do that.
Can I add one more thing?
Oh yeah. Sure.
Can I put in that WTAjourney.com? That is my business website. If you are concerned about advocating for yourself, if you're concerned about, end of life measures and preparations, I have different courses there. If you are somebody who struggles with moral injury and kind of that feeling broken, carrying guilt and shame because something happened that went against your morals.
Why you're looking at Brad?
That's what yeah, exactly.
Morals. Get the hell out of here.
One ply don't have morals. What you talking about, Willis? But those courses are all on that website. And then, of course, Resuscitating Nursing or Amazon for the book. And if you know a nurse, get them that book and let them help resuscitate nursing. But yeah, let's do our conspiracy theories. I
put that in the chat there too. Your journey link there. Click right to it. I believe that I know it's going to YouTube and Facebook. I have no idea. When it goes to X, I think it goes up into the space somewhere, and then I don't know if it comes back down. But at least on those two, that it's being watched. So Ashley, do you want to stick around for the conspiracy theory, or
let's do it? I got about 10 more minutes we can do.
Okay. All right. Well, hold on. I think I actually have something here. I think there it is.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out, and let's see what's going on this week.
And that's why I'll never be able to run for office again, pretty much for that. But you never know. I might go again but you know what? The politics is just a nasty, dirty thing. So I don't blame you, Ashley, for not trying, but I know that you could do some good. But if I ever do get in there, I'm going to be calling you, and we're going to get some stuff fixed, because people call me to fix stuff every day. Usually it's not their person. It's usually it's a very large gum wrapper you have there. My,
it's from a chocolate bar.
Okay, well, hey,
you're getting my secrets.
Oh yeah. No, well, I put a Dove bar on my head, but it melted. So, there you go. Oh, that's something like Ed Lip Trap would do. Remember, he'd stick the gum wrapper on it. So anyway, we're going to start with the Queen of Conspirafact. Lucy Brenton.
Well, the first conspiracy is the washing machine behind me that's trying to drown out my voice. Um, how do I even choose from all the conspiracies that are going on right now? So the one that I was thinking about today was the EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, smart meters on your home, which can cause your home to catch on fire. The chemtrails blasting flammable materials into the atmosphere that are landing on everything. The government of Canada currently spraying from the air thousands and thousands of acres with glyphosate and drying it up in anticipation, I guess, of I'm going to call it prehabbing. Like when you do a rehab on a house, you have to, destroy it first and clean it all out. So they're prehabbing places in Canada for the next 15-minute city. But I think the most egregious thing that I was thinking about today in terms of conspiracy is with the EMFs from 5G, Wi-Fi, and all the sorts of things. We're putting kids into a school, and that school is bombarded with Wi-Fi that has to be strong enough to go through the concrete walls and the metal doors. And we're literally putting kids inside of like a microwave.
Or
microwaving them. Yeah, we're literally putting them in a building that bounces everything back around on them. And then we're trapping them there for hours a day.
We're gonna basically be creating the X-Men. This is like all part of the plan. Like, who's not excited for that? And they have like powers and stuff. They can shoot laser beams out their eyes.
Well, you'd have to go to Two-Ply you'd have to go to Two-Ply for sure if the X-Men came. That would
scare the crap out of me enough to.
Yeah, that would be. Yep. You'd have to open a new shelf in the library for those. All those experts.
So I'm just going to say part of the reason they want compulsory education is to put your children in basically what amounts to a microwave radiation field and cook them and give them cancer because, cancer patients are profitable.
But aren't our homes also just...
I don't know about your home. My home has vinyl siding, so I'm not going to have things bouncing around back into my kids.
In my house, though.
I've got the ringing in my ears ever since they turned on the 5G.
It'll bounce out. Like if you have a stick built house and you don't have those super thick concrete or cinder block walls, it should exit. If you have a metal roof, that might be concerning. If you have aluminum siding, that might be concerning.
How about bricks?
Regular brick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever read anything on that. Let's just say that.
Oh, good.
How's your cell phone signal? I mean, the way that you test it is, have somebody from outside your house call your cell phone. I guess it could be inside your house too. Then put your phone inside the microwave. Obviously, don't turn it on, and then call your phone and see if your phone can ring or receive a text message or a signal while it's inside, the microwave. And then you can kind of get an idea about how permeable your walls are because you've got the control of the microwave, which doesn't let anything out. And then you can try it.
I'm like 5 seconds away from creating my own time machine out of a cell phone and a microwave. Like that's how you rip thread. Time. Yeah.
That's the time machine. Yeah, we're gonna have a time traveling meeting. We have it at 7:30 last Tuesday. So
do I get to go for the other conspiracy I was thinking about this week, which is the time shift? I don't know if anybody else feels the same way that I do, but I kind of feel like between March of 2020 and today, it's all a blur. I have a real hard time accessing specific memories within that time. Like I can think back to when my kids were younger and very specific days and have great memories that are, full of detail. But, that 5-year COVID period has really been difficult for me to have anything that isn't just mush.
Yeah, I got the ringing of the ears since I got the COVID and all that. So, but I don't know. I mean, it's just like you don't know if it's from natural stuff or something that's in the food or something. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like just getting older, like, your kids grow up too, and then all of a sudden, they're an age where you remember it. Yeah, I mean,
it's old age, baby.
And it happens so damn fast that. It's, but that said, the last 4 or 5 years have been pretty atrocious. So,
I'm gonna say it's trauma.
I'm not going to defend those.
Well, one of the things I know we're doing a conspiracy thing was I was talking to somebody today about, you listen to like WIBC and pretty much every single person on that station all day is mad. They're just pissed off, and I just think that's sort of.
But they get mad about other people being mad too, and it's like such a weird.
I mean, somebody walks up and stabs somebody on the train. I mean,
Yeah, but like,
that's
okay,
just
so yes, thank you for bringing that up because I really want to. I don't know what the end game is with crime, the way that they're talking. If they're trying to say that it has to be zero everywhere, like they're inviting, and everybody's going to be gung ho about having the military come in, and have them leave when it's at zero, according to who? Like they could fudge the numbers on that too if they wanted.
Well, this is like the vaccine. What's the benefits and what's the risk? I mean, it's always that.
Don't let them in. Like it's
Brad. I think you Lucy has rubbed off on you.
I love we haven't done conspiracy theory in a while. I feel like
no, we haven't. We've been pretty much we've done lawfare and people. Yeah. Oh, by the way, they caught Steve Sumner. I know that we had. He's Ashley. I don't know if you know this story, but we had Jamie Lynn on, and she was caught in a big mess up in Anderson with Steve Sumner, and he'd been on the run for 2 years. But guess what? Today they got him, and he is in custody. But it was there. It has a lot of true crime stuff involved with things. So
2 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you think about that. That's looking over your shoulder for all that. I mean, I don't know.
But they identified his vehicle on I-64. And to me, all I'm thinking is I drove to Colorado last month and I was photographed in Kansas and like they sent me tolls. Like,
yeah, I just got one for going across that stinking bridge down in Louisville.
How many card readers that said that he was found in a vehicle that like he was suspected to be in, and I'm like, how did it take 2 years then? If there's
maybe he was more careful and wasn't on
he was.
Highways.
I mean, yeah,
if I was on the run, I would not be driving on interstates. Like I would be going back road Betty. Like,
well, apparently one of he had a girlfriend, and one of the family members ratted him out a little bit, so he was out the door, and it sort of fleshed him out like the rabbit out of the thicket. And the hunter got him. So we'll see. But Jamie Lynn was. I mean, she's got to be relieved because she was always living in fear because this guy's out there, and he's not a nice person. So that's some good news that we had today, and all that. So that's good. That's not conspiracy. That's conspiracy fact right there. So Brad, you got a conspiracy or anything? Or?
Yeah, not even really conspiracy.
You're gonna be conspiracy fact like Lucy now?
No, I mean it's gonna be about it's gonna be about everybody wants more law in cities, and I don't understand why. Like Rokita last week called Indy a hellhole, like on a radio interview. Our attorney, like it doesn't make any sense. I replied to that because we've had the Super Bowl, we have NCAA finals, we have championships, like Big Ten championships, WNBA All-Star game, NBA All-Star games, the finals this year. Like in Indy always does very well. And we have our attorney general saying, yeah, it's a hellhole though.
And I agree with Brad on that.
Too. It is not one area, one section. Same thing with Chicago. Same thing with any big city. There is going to be areas that you
don't want to go.
Yeah.
Well, we've been told this smoke and mirrors thing for the last 10 years with the current administration, how they're going to end homelessness, and it's not going to. We cannot legislate our way out of this. There's got to be cost of living has got to drop. We just talked about a $70,000 emergency gallbladder removal. Well, if that person can't pay that and they come after him, you know what? That person's probably going to end up homeless because they can't deal with this. They're going to either come after the house, they're going to do whatever. So yeah, go ahead.
This is not legal advice because I'm not a lawyer, but it occurs to me that everybody that owns a home should immediately, and here goes that washing machine and spin cycle, everybody should make sure that they own their home in a trust. There are different types of trusts. Obviously, you need legal advice from an attorney, but you need to make sure that that home is not in your personal name. so that when you do have that medical event, it doesn't take away your home. So if you own the house in a trust, then you don't own that home. You're just getting the benefits of that home, so you can continue to live in it without that being in your title. And then if you know your kid's running, I don't know, you got a teenager and they're not paying attention, they just got the driver's license and they rear end somebody, those people are not going to be able to attack your home. And this is, of course, exactly how, the Kennedys.
The rich people do it. The rich people do that.
It's exactly how the rich people do
trust. Well, thanks, Lucy. Now, I'm sure if Lisa's still watching, because I have it on my computer, we've done that. We've done exactly what you said. I just have to get my part done. It's always the guy, isn't it? Always the guy in the relationship that can't get his stuff done. Lisa's already got it all done. She's got it sent in, and mine's sitting here, and I got to look at it or whatever. It's yeah. Anyway, thanks, Lucy. Thanks, Lucy, for that. Appreciate it. But so, Ashley, do you have a conspiracy fact or conspiracy theory or what's anything like that?
Yeah, my conspiracy fact is going to be that September is going to be a wild, wild month. And we are going to hear a lot of truths come out about the jabby jabs and like all of them. And people are really going to struggle with it. And we're going to have to pull together and get through this. And those of us who've been awake and aware are going to have to approach this with a lot of humility and be there to support our friends who are going to really struggle with the truths that are revealed.
Ooh,
is RFK going to release his autism report?
So there was a committee hearing today with Senator Ron Johnson, and Aaron Siri and Informed Consent Action Network released at the request of Senator Ron Johnson a study that was done pre-2020 by a pro-jabby jab doctor out of Henry Ford Hospital. And it was 18,000 plus patients with a review of medical records, and showed the same thing that were very similar to what Dr. Brian Hooker, who will be in Indianapolis in September 26th. It's a Friday night. He will be in Indianapolis. I get the honor of introducing him. But RFK
surgery live.
I'm sorry.
What do doctors go on tour?
So he helped co-author a book called Jabbed versus Unjabbed, and you got to substitute some words in there, with RFK, and it showed a bunch of studies that demonstrated the dangers. And so he's going to come talk about that book, and I'm sure he might have some things to add about this new study. It sounds like that study should be available in the documentation from the Senate hearings that were happening today. And so this is just the beginning. We're going to see a lot more come out. And I'm not saying that the jabs are the only thing that causes these things, but it's a significant enough contributor that we really need to reevaluate our practices and make sure that we're doing right by people. And if people still choose to do this, we need to be prepared to help them heal. And that's a conversation that I know we've had on this show before. So buckle up, my friends, get ready to love on each other and help each other through a really difficult time.
Yeah. And if you want to watch some of the social media, Eric Clapton is somebody who got the jab, and he has a very not a very good experience with that. So,
and he's lived a very healthy lifestyle his entire existence. So,
really? Are you being sarcastic?
Yeah. Jesus Christ, Eric Clapton. Look up how many, his alcoholism, his drug use.
Yeah, and then he gets the jab and it gets him. That makes a lot of sense.
No, but that's what I mean. To credit that to whatever ailment he's currently going through, to the one vaccine, or I think his prior health had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, well, I just will say, watch it.
Can I rephrase that, Brad?
Yes.
Can I rephrase that for you? That his kidneys and his nervous system, his myelin sheath, and his liver were so incredibly resilient that it didn't matter that for years and years and years and years he hammered himself with poisons. But then he got the ultimate poison, which was temporally causally associated, and that was the jibby jab.
I'm putting my helmet down for that one. So here's a conspira fact. My birthday is Saturday and Lucy's is Sunday. Is that
Happy
right?
birthday! Do you want me
Yeah.
to sing?
No,
Yeah,
please
that'd be
don't.
great.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
sing.
wait.
I tried to sing
Brad
earlier.
and,
and I
Brad and
couldn't.
Ashley got to sing to us.
No, dear God, no.
Come on, One Ply, get it.
No, it's gonna ruin my street cred, man. That's
Okay,
not.
I know
Yeah.
you're doing so well.
Yeah, look out.
You
I'll be
almost-
going to Cheesecake Factory and get me a couple of slices of cheesecake.
Yeah. So and my famous story is I was 13 on Friday the 13th. So that's hard to. I've actually met two other people. One was I was in 1974. My other friend's 1985, and then I met a random person from 2002. So if you're born on the 13th, then do your math and check out and see if you were born on Friday the 13th, and that will explain a lot of things about me and my illustrious career on how I'm still alive, like a cat with 13 lives. So let's see. Anything else? Anybody else want to throw some more garbage in this thing?
Okay. Well, I think the new Trump, new Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers came out, and like they were equally as bad. But Trump already fired the person who did it last time. So who's going to get the blame this time?
It's you, Brad. You're the Democrat.
Yeah, liberals. Oh,
Yeah,
Whitty. Oh, God. I wanted to kill him on Saturday night. We can do this later. I'm sorry. But
who are you talking about? Whitty?
Oh, Whitty. Yeah. He was just, blaming
He was
leftist Democrat liberals. They did this and this, and it's like, geez. Okay.
Yeah, he was cracking me up with some of his stuff. He just I produce his show, and Micah Beckwith is one of our good guests, and he is just mogging him about the Haitian thing.
I did get him to yell at me though, like in the comments. One of the funnest things to do is try to make him break during the show.
Yeah. Okay, we got to go. The ladies that we know, we're just here chitty chatty and all that. So, hey, Ashley, thanks so much. Everybody, go out and get this book. It's Kindle. You can get it on Kindle,
paperback, Kindle, and yeah, paperback and Kindle. Both the book and the
Resuscitating Nursing. That's what we have here, and it sounds like it's got a little strategy you could use on your kids too, and anybody else. It's like these aren't the droids you're looking for. So anyway, that's what we have here today. Let me just find the right thing here to get us out of this mess. Is it that one? No, this is it. Okay. Hey, bye. Thanks, Ashley. Good luck on everything. Buy your book.
Thanks.
Yay!